How's it going, everyone? I'm Adam Molina. One company that's popped up on tons of best Bluetooth speakers lists is UE. Two of their speakers, the UE Boom and the UE Roll, jumped to the top of everyone's shortlist when they were first announced. Since their initial release, they've since been updated, and we already got a chance to check out the UE Boom too. I'll link it right here if you missed it. And though it is better than the original, it still just wasn't for me. But what about the UE Roll 2? Let's find out. When you pull the box out of the sleeve and open it up, you'll be greeted with the speaker. You'll also get a short yellow micro USB cable for charging, a floaty for the speaker, not kidding, and a quick start guide, of course. When you first look at this speaker, you probably won't be able to tell which is the newer version if you put it next to the original. And you're not alone, but that's because there really isn't anything different about the two. On the outside at least. This new version still has the same IPX7 waterproof fabric that covers the speaker, the same shape, the same size, same plus and minus symbols, same everything. While I do enjoy the minimal design of the UE Roll 2 with just these plus and minus buttons, it would have been nice to see a little more functionality out of them. More on that later. On the back of the speaker towards the top, there's a small power button and a smaller Bluetooth pairing button. The bottom has a small watertight flap of rubber that when pulled back reveals the micro USB input for charging and a 3.5mm input for non-Bluetooth devices. Also like the original, the UE Roll 2 has a small bungee cord on the back, perfect for hanging it wherever you want. It also still has this convenient little hook on the back of it so you can strap the bungee cord to it when you're not using it. UE definitely thought ahead when they were designing this speaker. Now we get to the point of the review where the UE Roll 2 begins to show why it has a 2 at the end of its name. UE claims that this new model has a range of 100 feet when paired to Bluetooth devices. When we tested it outdoors, we got a little over 70 feet before stuttering became a problem. Range indoors definitely suffered more, but it was still good enough for average use. With 3 walls in the way, I was able to get to around 30 feet before music cut out entirely. Okay, so now back to my issue with the buttons. Though I do like that it's just the plus and minus sign on the front, all you can do is raise or lower the volume. There's no skipping to the next track, there's no returning to a previous track, you can't even pause or play the music, which should be pretty standard on a Bluetooth speaker at this point. UE claims a battery life of 9 hours, but again we weren't so lucky in our testing. With volume on about 60%, we were able to squeeze a respectable 10 hours out of the Roll 2. That said, when we maxed out the volume, it died after only 3 hours of usage. I had pretty much the same exact issue with the way more expensive Beoplay A1. And though I do understand why you wouldn't want your headphones to be on max volume since they're right next to your ears, I can give you 3 good reasons off the top of my head right now why Bluetooth speakers should be on max volume. 1, you're at a party. 2, you're across the room and you need the music louder. 3, you're at a party. A lot of parties use Bluetooth speakers. The low end is surprisingly solid for a speaker of this size, but it isn't amazing. But what it lacks in depth and power, it makes up for in control. Bass lines and drum kicks were surprisingly clean, and when the drums kick in about a minute into He Is the Same by Jon Bellion, it barely vibrates my desk, but it's enough to make your head nod. The bass isn't anything special, but the mids are. Vocals and guitars in 1936 by Fox sound beautiful throughout the entire song, especially when played at average volume. When you max out the speaker, there is a very slight distortion sometimes, but for the most part, instruments are still clear and detailed. Snare hits also have a nice airy quality with the reverb cutting out at the perfect time. When it comes to highs, they were also above average. Detail in the shakers and cymbals of Hang Me Up to Dry by Cold War Kids were nicely maintained and never became piercing. Overall, the UE Roll 2 has a very practical sound. Everything is nicely spaced and attention is given to the elements of the sound that matter most, but don't expect to be blown away by amazing sound quality, because that's just not what this does. The UE Roll 2 isn't much of an improvement over the original, but it is an improvement. It gets a little bit louder now, 15% louder to be exact, and it has a slightly wider range overall. Instruments just sound like they have a little more room to breathe, which translates to a better experience. You're not going to be blown away by sound, but compared to other speakers in this price range, like the Flip 3, I think the Roll 2 has a slight upper hand here. Not to mention that the unique disc-shaped design is just as practical now as the day it was announced. If you already have a UE Roll, it's probably not worth upgrading to the new one. But if you don't yet and you're looking for a good Bluetooth speaker, this is a great option. We're giving the UE Roll 2 an 8.4 out of 10. And that does it for our review of the UE Roll 2. Thanks for watching. If you want to know more about this speaker, check out the full written review over at SoundGuys.com. While you're here, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and sign up to our monthly newsletter so you can stay up to date with all the newest reviews and audio news here at SoundGuys. In that newsletter is also where we announce the winners of our monthly giveaways, so you might want to do that. Links to all of that down there in the description. I'm Adam Molina. I'll see you later.